I said mine were in the freezer. So my bowl is nice and cold. Flour, sugar, and a little bit of salt is in there for flavor. Next thing I'm going to do is take my butter, again, cold. My butter had come out of the freezer and I'd cut it, and I just put it back in the fridge. So when we made the lemon curd, I showed you how the actual butter has the tablespoons on it. So this, same sort of thing, we cut all 8 tablespoons this time, and then I cut even those squares in half. You're gonna put these in here, all of them. Okay. You're gonna give this a little shake. Use your hands, make sure that all the butter is covered up with flour. See, it's like flour covered butter. And then you just use your hands to squish it. You're basically cutting the butter in. This is called cutting the butter. They have these fancy things called pastry cutters that you can use. They're not necessary to have in your kitchen. You can just use your fingers. There's a lot of fancy things out there that can make your job maybe easier, but there's something really fun about just doing it with your fingers. So I like to get my fingers a little bit dirty. So you just cut all of this butter in, and once it's all cut in, you're going to add your ice cold water. Now my water, I filled up about a half hour ago, put it in the freezer. So it's not frozen, but it's really cold. The heat, the natural heat from your hands is going to warm up the butter a little bit. So if you're having a hard time, because mine was frozen, I have to like really pick it up and push it. But the heat from my hands is going to help cut this in. Your fingers will be nice and strong. And what you're trying to accomplish with the butter is layer it into the flour, because that's what gives you a really flaky crust. So all you're going to do is just keep cutting this in with your fingers, and then once it looks like uneven, just clumps of like little pea size, almond size things of butter, whatnot, we're going to add our water in 1 tablespoon at a time to form a dough. Once that dough is formed, we'll wrap in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. And that's called resting, because I don't know if you remember from the first time we were together, there are kind of like protein glutinous strands in the flour, and those can get tough when you work them. So part of resting it, wrapping it, and putting it in the fridge is to just let those strands relax so you don't have a tough pie dough. Okay. So it's looking like I've got little clumps in here, pea-sized clumps, almond-sized clumps. And I'm just gonna take my water and add 1 tablespoon at a time. And here comes my little helper. Did you wash your hands? No. Go wash your hands real fast. Dane's gonna come up and add the water to our pie dough. And then we are gonna be off to the races. So it's still flour, guys, but it's just a little bit more crumbly with the butter in there. Okay. So guys, if you are sitting at home, we'd love to hear what you guys are doing. So maybe you could just post on our Facebook page. Let us know what's one fun thing that you've been doing to stay busy. Have you been outside? Have you started a new project? Did you start building something? What are you guys doing to stay busy at home and have fun? Let us know. I want to know. I started planting my flowers. It's supposed to be cold this week though, so we'll see. I'm going to plant more this weekend over Mother's Day. That's what I'm going to do. All right, guys. You have this already? Now it's time for the water. Water. 1 tablespoon at a time. I kind of form a little volcano right in the center. 1. Ooh, there's almost ice forming on the top. 2 tablespoons. Push my flour over the top of it. Push it down. Kind of work it in a little bit more here. Someone's here. I don't have a dough yet, so I'm going to add 2 more tablespoons right in the middle of my dough. Sprinkle my flour over the top. Push it down. and you are it's starting to kind of form. See how it's starting to form, but then it falls right apart. So we need more liquid. Form your little hole in the middle. A couple tablespoons. Push the flour over the top. Push it down with your fist. Squeeze it with your hands. And you're starting to get more. See, I can start to form it now. Still needs a little bit more. It's still pretty crumbly. So form that hole in the middle. Take your ice cold water. Add a couple more tablespoons. And it'll come together pretty quick when it's at this point. So you don't want to put too much water in. At this point, maybe just go back to 1 tablespoon at a time. All right, I'm actually going to dump this out here, guys, so you can start to see what's happening. It's a mound of flour. Dane, you want to pull up your stool over there and you can come say hi? And so again, we're just going to add 1 tablespoon, like right in the middle of the volcano. We put our flour over it. We push it down. Squeeze it together